Good morning. Welcome to the Aging Tapestry Classroom. My name is Naya Etienne, and this is one of my initiative, Voices of Dementia Caregivers. And it is a space for past, current, and future caregivers to share their caregiving journeys in the hopes of providing support and encouragement to dementia caregivers. This morning, I am joined with Sharmaine Poyotte, and Sharmaine is more than a caregiver. Sharmaine is a professional, a career woman, and she, like any other dementia caregiver, had to juggle the responsibilities of being a caregiver and also being a full time mom and a career lady. So today, Shamin, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to share your journey and share your mom with us. So, welcome to the Aging Tapestry.
Thank you very much for having me, Naya.
Yes. As we begin, I would like you to tell us a bit about your mom. Who was your mom? Like her personalities, her values. Let's just honor your mom for a while.
I am very happy you said her personality. My mom was the best. An overachiever. My mother was extremely resilient. My
Mhm.
mother was courage. If you know the phrase, say courage and the thing, the young people
Oh, no,
say,
I know it.
yes, my mother was the picture and the epitome of courage, resilience, making things better for yourself.
Mhm.
She was an excellent mother. She did a lot with very little. She was very strong. She was also extremely fashionable,
Oh.
very neat, very jovial, but sometimes she was very matter of fact. She was
Mhm.
extremely forgiving and extremely giving.
Yeah.
And probably later on in this conversation, I could highlight some of the ways that she was extremely, because I know she was so giving. When
Yeah.
it became excessive, I really didn't think too much of it. But yeah, my mother was just fantastic, a fantastic, wonderful human being.
Yes. So today we're going to honor and share the story of this fantastic, courageous human being. So, Shamin, usually when people think of dementia, they associate it primarily with memory loss. But your experience, your journey was different. Can we speak about that? What were the first things that you noticed with your mom?
Okay, my mother, fun outgoing. When you have fun outgoing, we used to joke with my mother and say, Mom, you know you were a groupie. To show you she was fun outgoing and there were bands and she would
Yeah.
follow her band everywhere they went. She and
Mm-hmm.
friends would have been there. So we used to harass her. And then this fun outgoing person became very introverted, didn't want to go anywhere, didn't really want to see anyone, became paranoid, became extra giving. And also, the other thing, she was extremely tidy, OCD, I would say. And then all of those things started changing. So,
Yeah. Do you mind giving us a few examples of what like were the different
yes.
changes?
Um, One that I had never experienced before was her
Mhm.
paranoia.
Okay.
We were at the airport, we were traveling, and then she told me that some people, a couple, were looking at her and saying things. So I'm like, what's going on? I looked at them, and each time I would glance, look at them to see what's going on, because you're thinking,
Mhm.
okay, probably it's somebody that you know, and they're trying to figure out, do I know her? You know, when you know somebody, you look
Yes.
trying to match the face, the place, the occasion, whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm looking, and all the time I'm looking, they never once looked at us. I was so upset,
Yes.
and angry that those people kept looking at her and saying things about her.
Mm-hmm.
Totally brushed that off.
Yeah.
And then, so that was one of the things. The other thing is my mother was tidy, extremely tidy. She used to sweep outside. Outside had to be spotless. So you could only imagine if outside is spotless, what
What's
inside.
inside like?
We never left dishes in the sink. The bathrooms were always clean. Your bed had to be made. Okay? Um, and those things just weren't happening anymore. So I just figured out she's tired or she doesn't entertain much, so it's neither here nor there for her. But I never realized then that that was a sign.
Okay. And as you mentioned, you just saw it as she's probably tired. And I think it's so important for us to be able to distinguish between what's normal aging and what's normal tiredness and
Yeah.
what's a continuous pattern that we could say, okay, this is continuous. It's not just a one time thing, it's a continuous pattern. So, Shaman, tell us a little bit more about from noticing those different changes, what did you begin to do to sort of support your mom when you saw those different changes?
Okay, when I noticed that the house wasn't tidy because I don't live with her, we lived in different islands. So
Yeah.
when I went to visit and I noticed that, um, one time when she came to visit, I decided to surprise her and retile the house with tiles that are easier to clean.
Yes.
And we did that. And mom went back home happy.
Yes.
And I went back to visit mom, and the new test did not make a difference. So I'm like, hey, something is wrong there. Something is wrong. However, I never associated it with dementia.
Yes. But at what point was it a turning point where you said, no, 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 like something is definitely wrong and we need to intervene? Like at what point did you say that?
She kept telling me that she's forgetful. And
Yeah.
I'm like, Mommy, everybody forgets things. And she just
Yes.
kept bringing it up. And the other thing is, she would always misplace things like money. We would give her money and we would give her money to do something. It's not done. Why? She has no idea where she put the money. So I'm like, who is coming home? Because someone has to be coming home and taking the money, that the money is always gone. And
Yeah.
then realize that, yes, she is really becoming forgetful. And then I got this fear that what if she is on the bus, she goes to town, she doesn't know who she is. And I became extremely paranoid about it. So then my sister, my mother lived alone. So my sister, short version of the story, left the job to be
Yeah.
full-time caregiving with my mother when my mother was in dementia.
Yeah. And that's the reality of a lot of dementia caregiving journeys where family members have to leave their jobs and become full time caregivers to their parents.
At that point, mother didn't need that kind of care. We
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure that she had some companionship,
Yeah.
that if anything happened, because then she became a bit slower. She would still go
Mhm.
to town, still visit her friends. She would have the memory lapses, but it
Yeah.
wasn't so significant that she needed somebody there with her full time. But we just thought in the best interest
Mhm.
to have my sister there full time.
With her.
Yes.
That's good. Charmaine, you mentioned that towards the end, your mom recognized or remembered distant relatives that she had not seen or spoken to in years, but she did not recognize you who were there with her on a continuous basis. Tell us about that and how did it make you feel?
In August, the year that my mother died, August of 2022. Okay, let's go to April. In April of 2022, we're talking about dementia, and my mother was getting to the point that the memory was, the memory, the recognition was tiny. The lapses were huge. But I went home for Easter and she started extremely slow. She had a way of looking at you like she's trying to put the name to the face and the face to an occasion, a memory, a place.
Yeah.
So the first day we were home, we stayed in an Airbnb because whenever I was home, I tried to take her out, do an Airbnb, do a hotel, do something different. So we were at an Airbnb. And the first night, she didn't know who we were. We were all there. My sister, my daughter, myself, we were all there. And then the next day, it's like she never remembered that she didn't know who we were the day before. So we had an extremely wonderful time. And when I was leaving, I took this photo of her, this gorgeous photo of her. And she said, will you come back for my birthday? Dementia. Will you come back for my birthday? She actually remembered that her birthday was in about 3 weeks. I said, Mom, yes, I will come back for your birthday. She said, you promised that might be the last time you'll see me alive. And I'm like, no, 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 it's not going to be the last time. I'll come back for your birthday. And when it was her birthday, I'm like, I just saw Mom 3 weeks ago. We're nowhere. And in August, she was hospitalized. She had a terrible UTI and she had just recovered from COVID. So she was hospitalized for treating the UTI. And then she looks at me and I said, hi, Mom. And she gave me that, said, baby, how you doing? I said, Mom, that's not baby. That's Sharmaine. She said, don't get me vexed. Baby, how you doing? Now, baby is a sister.
Yeah.
So, she remembered my sister. She remembered my daughter was not with me. My family video called her and she remembered them. She spoke to them and the love and the softness in her voice when she saw them on the screen. And my brother called her and my niece that she hadn't seen for like 20 years called her and she was like, and I am woman, I am right there.
Yes.
You're not remembering me. And how did that make me feel? It didn't make me feel it didn't make me feel bad because I said that's what God's way of sparing me. Because whenever I came to St. Lucia and I left, my mother always cried. And when I promised her that I would come back for her birthday, she cried. But we used to mom crying whenever I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And the fact that she didn't recognize me, I think, and I also had to leave. As soon as she got out of the hospital the following day, I had to leave. The trauma of her crying, the last thing I am seeing of her is her crying because I had to, because it was always hard. In the good days, the bad days, it was always hard.
Yeah. So, in as much as it was a bit sad, a little of that,
Yeah.
it was a blessing for
It
you.
was.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the point when your mother doesn't recognize you and she recognized someone from 20 years the last time, you're like, okay, what's going on there?
But yes, what's
But
happening?
you sit and you think of the relationship that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, I had spoken to her. After the hospital, I spoke to her and I'd asked her, do you know who you're speaking to? And she became extremely slow. Very, very slow. Always tired, want to sleep. She'd be like, yes. She used to call me, she had a nickname for me, Cheryl. Tell me yes, Cheryl, or sometimes yes, Charmaine. But the face, at the time she was at the hospital, she didn't recognize my face. But like the week after, When I spoke to her, she recognized my voice. And 2 weeks later, the 2 weeks after, when you called her, it was more like annoyance. She just wants to go. She doesn't want to talk and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mhm. That is really important, and thanks for sharing that, because you have cases where some caregivers, it becomes something personal for them. And it's so important to know that your mom or your loved one not recognizing you is not something intentional. It's the changes that are happening in their brain, and it's beyond their control. So it's not personal. And I'm really happy that you were able to recognize that in some way.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
And also, I want to say, in as much as my mother's dementia was progressive,
Mhm.
it wasn't like in some instances you wake up and in 1 year the person's memory is totally gone. It was many years. We could say about 6 years of very slow degradation of her memory. And in that time, when we recognized what was happening, we
Mhm.
had some really fun times with my mother. We got her drunk. We got her drunk. We were taking food to the hospital that she's not supposed to be eating.
Mhm.
We would do trips. We would do staycations. We just
Mhm.
did everything to make her happy, to make
Yeah.
her comfortable, and for us also to have those memories with her. Because my daughter, my nieces, and my nephews wouldn't
Mhm.
have had the young. So they wouldn't
Yeah.
have those many years of the fantastic, wonderful, awesome woman that she was. So we would do the
Mhm.
fun things to highlight that.
You mentioned that. Tell us about your mom eating through the being fed through the tube, and what
Yeah.
you did that brought a drastic change.
Now, one thing I didn't say about my mother is that Teresa was stubborn.
Mm-hmm,
She wouldn't do anything she didn't want to do. So at the hospital, they would feed her light foods,
mm-hmm,
soups, bland food. Nah, nah, nah. My mother had a hook gun. So you wouldn't feed her bland food, okay? And they taught us how to feed her through her
mm-hmm.
nose and things like that. And I could just see that she was always uncomfortable and always upset when we had to do it. And she would tell you, I'm like, Mom, I know you could eat the food, just have some. And she
Yeah.
would turn her head and she wouldn't. So my niece and I could say that now because they push us of the illusion. So I could say we
Yeah.
went out and we decided, let's bring her a tuna sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
The same lady that every day the nurses, she spent 13 days at the hospital. Every day the nurse is saying that Teresa is not eating. We brought the tuna sandwich, just to
Teresa ate
then,
everything.
then comes the nurse. Whilst my mother is there eating the sandwich, here comes the nurse. She's like, what are y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but she's hungry. And they're like, no, no, you cannot feed her. I'm like, but she's hungry. And the nurse said, just don't tell anyone that I saw y'all.
Yeah.
And then she started eating. And
Mm-hmm.
then we would bring her our own food. She liked chicken, so she would always get some kind of chicken or something, and she would eat it.
Yeah.
After that, I guess she was not protesting. She had this super wonderful day. Like
Mm-hmm.
one day my mother is sick, and the next day my mother is ready to dance on the ceiling. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus, mom is well and everything is okay. The physiotherapist or even said, your mom can speak French. And I'm like, I don't believe she was showing off a little.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't fluent. I don't know how she found out the physiotherapist was spoke French, but they
Yeah, yeah.
conversation in French. So she was doing so good. And the next day, different human being, worst
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about that part? The drastic change.
I said it was probably, I saw it. I
Yeah.
waited for the doctor. I spoke to the doctor. I told the doctor, I think my mom got a stroke. And the doctor looked at me. She said,
Mm-hmm.
why would you say that? I said, because look at her yesterday versus today. Well,
Yeah.
when you don't know, you don't know. Those are
Yeah.
the signs. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. So the doctor said, do you want me to conduct some tests? I said, yes. She said, it's going to cost you. I said, yes, go ahead. They
Yeah.
did tests, whatever tests they were, and they were negative. My mother didn't have a stroke. She just had a really good day. And then she just went down and continued going down until she died 3 weeks later.
Yeah. And that's the reality of persons living with dementia. Some days, every day is different. So some days you get them very good, and some days they're on a low, and some days they're on a high.
Yeah.
Charmaine, I think the issue with the food, and it's something that people have been having a lot of discussions about. Not because somebody has dementia means that they can't enjoy things that they once loved. And I think we need to be able to strike a balance between, you know, protecting mom and ensuring that we're not causing harm to her, but at the same time, maintaining that dignity and that sense of personhood. It does do something to them where they feel that they're still alive, their needs are still met, they still feel that deep connection to who they've always been. And I think your mom did experience that when she got to eat the food that she really loved, instead of giving them these kinds of bland food.
Yeah. And it's not only with the food,
Yeah.
just the way that they dress. My mother loved dressing up.
Mhm.
Um, get a nice mother, whoever, get the
Yeah.
person nice clothes. If they like their favorite color, their
Mhm.
favorite style of dress, just continue. Another thing is um, they always in the house gown, the night
Mhm.
kind of thing, like the forever sick. And I'm like, no, dress up. It is easier. I understand.
Yeah.
It is easier when you have the nightgown on. But still, they have pants with waistbands. They have
Yes.
button shirt that could just snap on and snap off. Dress
Yes.
them. Don't let them feel like they 24/7 in a hospital or anything like that. And also the music that they like. And my mother had such positive responses when we played the music that she liked.
Yeah. Let's go there. You had mentioned there was a time where your mom felt really down, and you said no. I'm going to give her something that she's like she always loved. Tell us about the Kasav story. Kasav,
So
not
yes,
Kasav, Kasav.
Casa, okay. My mother loves Lucky Dube. There is a
Oh,
story,
Lucky Dube. Sorry.
but I am not going to tell you that story on camera. No, my mother was absolutely crazy, but my
Mm-hmm,
mother also loved Casa.
mm-hmm,
And we were doing around the island because I think we always wanted to do fun things with her because keeping her
mm-hmm,
in the house, no, no, no. So we hired the there is a name for it, the bus that you
mm-hmm,
just wheel in the wheelchair, you clip it on, and you could do whatever. So we did that. And she was like, she obviously didn't want to go.
mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, no, 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 no. It's like we going to a funeral or something. No one is talking. Mom is grumpy, grumpier than usual. I'm like, wait, wait, wait. Let me put on some music for you. I put on some Lucky Dube. And she told me, they killed him. They killed
Mm-hmm.
my Lucky.
Yeah.
She loved Lucky Dube. Then I'm like, okay, wait, 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 wait. We're not doing that. Let us do some Casa. Boy,
Yes.
I am going to show you that video.
Okay.
When and I'm like, oh, mama, that song reminds you of because there is a story behind that. I'm like, she's like, And she's going, and I'm like, okay, you're a lady, you don't kiss and tell. That's
Yes, yes.
and had a really, we all had a very good time. Yes, we just continued playing the music, talking.
Mhm.
Obviously, she cannot contribute to the conversation like the rest of us, but we were just keeping her engaged.
Yeah. And music is very powerful, and there is a lot of research to show the importance of music. I will just give an example. I was a caregiver for this lady of Kenyan descent,
Mm.
and if she was having a bad day or just when her mood went down, you just turn on Jerusalem. Listen, she
Ah,
could be in that room. She's
yeah,
coming out and she's dancing, and the moves are consistent, and you will just see this happy face from her being just sad and down. And then you put on Jerusalem, and the light, it like it ignites something
yes,
in her,
yeah,
because music really helps reconnect, and the sense of familiarity to certain things. So music does have power. So if your loved one feels sad or they're down, try to find things that they once loved or they once connected with, and try to see how that can help, with changing of moods and behaviors. Right,
yes,
Charmaine?
yes.
Yes. You also mentioned that one way you honor the dignity and personhood of your mom is by, polishing her nails, giving her spa dates. Let's talk about that and how important it was for you that even though mom had dementia, it was also important to maintain that sense of dignity in mom.
My mother later on in life developed a liking for long nails. Oh, like where that coming from?
Mhm.
She liked long nails and she liked them painted red.
Mhm.
I hate red nails.
Well, it wasn't about you, it was about mom.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh. I love
So it
that.
had to be red. She doesn't care what I like. What she
Mm-hmm.
likes is red nail polish. And we would do the manis, the pedis. She liked pampering, personal care. That was for my mother. And we definitely, and that is something when my mother was well and good, she did
Mm-hmm.
it herself. I never had to do it for her. Or we would
Yeah.
pay for her to go and get a mani pedi at a spa. But when
Mm-hmm.
she became older and she was not mobile, we would have to do it. And that was the way that we would connect. And let me tell you, no matter how bad my mother's memory was, she always remembered she doesn't want my sister clipping her nails. Because my sister was atrocious at doing that. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't clip them. I would file them down so they didn't hurt her. Because she was diabetic, she had that
Yeah.
nerve ending trauma.
Yeah.
So yes, sometimes when she touched things, she had this. I think she explained it like pins and needles forever. She's always feeling it. So she had very sensitive feet and very sensitive fingers. So we had to be gentle. And she preferred me doing it to my sister.
Yeah. That's nice. Let's talk a little about you and how you were able, as a caregiver and a mom, and with your career, how were you able to navigate this journey, balancing all of those different roles?
Okay. I never did it by myself.
Yeah.
When my mother was with me, I had someone to stay with her.
Yeah.
My paranoia.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's in a foreign country.
Mhm.
I she would never wander off.
Yeah.
That wasn't my fear. My fear is just the loneliness. Then she wouldn't
Mhm.
like it and she'd want to go home. And this is what happened.
Mhm.
Um, because she was thinking her moments of lucidity. She would talk about. She would ask me things like, "If my friends came to visit me, how would they know where I am? if they call me at home and I don't answer the phone, how would they know where I am? But all her friends knew where she was. But yeah. So it was extremely hard. It was difficult, and I can't even, I have to be honest. I cannot say it was simple. It was to the point that I hated my sister.
Yeah.
I hated her. We had a terrible relationship. I didn't think that anything she was doing for my mother was good enough, just because I would have done it differently. But um, the it was just my situation was different, so I could have done more. My sister doesn't have a vehicle, so she cannot just pick up my mother and bring her out to the beach like I would want her to do. She wouldn't be able to just take my mother and bring her to the doctor because my mother said she wasn't feeling well. So we had a very tumultuous relationship, extremely bad relationship during the time that she was provided caregiving to my mother. And towards the end, my sister got exhausted. Even if we had a nurse who would come in, my sister was mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. I hope she wouldn't mind me telling her business, going through menopause, going through her personal relationship struggles, having to take care of her mother. All of that became burdensome for her. And to the point that she told me she couldn't do it again. And I just thought, what kind of human being are you that you're telling me you cannot do it anymore? And you have the assistant. So it's not, the issue was not having the physical health, but the mental tool. But my sister is like my mother. My sister is very strong because what my sister was able to endure with my mother, I would not have been able to do it. So lots of thanks to her. Our relationship is, we back in love.
Mhm.
Back
Yeah.
in love. But during that time, in the last 6 months, it was terrible.
Yes.
Yes, because that time my mother is not with me. So I am not feeling the emotional stress that she is feeling. So,
And I guess a lot of caregivers can relate to that, the
yeah.
tension that the whole caregiving journey causes because one person wants one thing, one person isn't present, and it's not a case of not wanting to take care of mom, it's the emotional exhaustion. Now,
Yes,
looking back, what do you think could have been done to help support her mental well being?
did everything. Um,
Mhm.
she had the nurse. So when the nurse came in, that's when she took a break. So she wasn't with my mother all the time.
Mhm.
Um, Plus there are other things. She had time to do what she wanted to do. But it wasn't only taking care of my mother because um, she is not, I guess something I never recognized is that it's not just taking care of a stranger. You're taking
Mhm.
care of your mother, and the same issues that I had looking at my mother deteriorated. She also had those
Mhm.
issues. Even if she never spoke about it, never acknowledged it. She, she was always so matter of fact about it. She had her husband, her own relationship that she needed to devote time and attention to. She had her friends that she needed to give some time and attention to, and just personal space for her. Plus, we had other things going on in the background with our family that, in retrospect, then I was extremely selfish. I only cared about my mother being happy. So, and
Thank
I
you.
would tell her, my mother, because you're not treating her like your mother. But well, I'm only speaking of myself and my sister. But my mother had 5 children alive. We
Mm.
have a sister that we lost very young. Yes,
Yeah.
so it was just my sister and I.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
if you were to give and the future dementia caregivers, what would it be when it comes to self care? You know, caring for themselves to sort of prevent that burnout. What would it be? What advice would you give to them?
Mental self-care.
Mhm.
No amount of spa days for my sister, no amount of weekends, vacation, none of that would have helped.
Mhm.
It physically, but that wasn't the issue. Mentally, you need someone you could talk to. You need
Yeah.
to be able to journal. Now, I had that opportunity because I was the one screaming and cursing and cussing and fighting,
Yeah.
telling everyone that why is it that my sister things that would just trigger me. I would say, it's time for mom to get her quarterly visit, house call. And she would say, okay, well, call the doctor. And I'd be like, I am not in St. Lucia. Why don't you call the doctor?
Yeah.
And she would have called the doctor. And that would start us fighting again and things. So mental, you need to take care of the
Yeah.
mental mental self-care is
It's
crucial.
very important.
Whether
Okay.
it's just stepping out, having that opportunity to be away from the person,
Yeah.
having the opportunity to probably journal it, have an opportunity to talk about it to someone neutral, I guess.
Yeah.
And just when it is difficult, say it's difficult. When you're not able to do it, say you're not able to do it. Unfortunately, well, I hope you don't get a sister like me who wouldn't understand that you cannot do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because my mother, a question would probably be like, why didn't you put your mother in a nursing home? Because my mother never wanted to go in a nursing home. My mother always wanted to be in her own space.
Yeah.
And having to make the decision when my sister said she couldn't do it anymore and other avenues failed. And the last option was putting my mother in a nursing home.
Yeah. It was a no.
My
I'm
mother
not
even
saying.
got assigned a bed at the nursing home because she like knew she's going to a nursing home and she's just like get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the nursing home, every situation is different. And I know a lot of long term care, nursing homes, and stuff, they're trying to move towards person centered care where you honor the dignity and worth of the person, allowing them to age with dignity despite whatever diagnosis that they have. But we find that and research has shown that when you put your loved one in a nursing home or long term care facility, some of them deteriorate quicker than, having them at home because in the long term care facilities, the ratio of staff to the patients, it's not balanced. So whereas at home with a situation that I've had, you can spend time. Mom is taking a while to brush her teeth. She's not really understanding that, okay, this is how you brush your teeth. You can be patient with her while you're trying to get her to brush the teeth, maybe trying to do something else and coming back to the teeth. So you have time. Whereas in a long-term care facility, the likelihood of that happening is very low because you have so many people to take care of. So I think when caregivers decide to put mom in a nursing home, these are all of the things that they have to consider: the ratio of staff to patients, the games, the activities, the foods that they're providing, yeah. So that is important, and you made the right decision for your mom. You did. One last thing. When we had first met for Lisa's Find Your Fire, we had that discussion where you said, when you first shared the story, you said you feel so much guilt had you known that your mom had dementia, you would have done things differently. Let's talk about that a little, because a lot of caregivers experience that guilt even after the passing of their loved one. They still carry that guilt.
It's just that you always feel that you could have done more.
Yeah.
It can be true, or probably it's not true, because the knowledge I have about dementia now versus when my mom was alive, it's because just like, okay, for example, yesterday, scrolling through Instagram, I saw this clip that people with dementia, when you're wearing black and you speak into them, they see you like a floating head. And I told you earlier on, my favorite color was black. That's my favorite color, so most likely that's what I would be wearing. So just now, I'm thinking, well, see how much trauma you must have caused mom. And she did also have black rug um, um, at the entrance of the house. So knowing all those things now, I just wish I knew them then, because I always wonder, was she happy? I know when I saw her in April, she had a good time. But between April and August, yes, I spoke to her. Um, I saw her in April. Was wonderful. We spoke. The memory was there. In May, she had her 81st birthday party, and they sent me a video. And she said, "Yay! They gave her the sash, they gave her the crown.
Mhm.
My nieces and nephews and my sister, they went all out. And she said she was 16. So the memory was, and it was just progressively worse.
Yeah.
And but she had this very clear moment in August. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wish I didn't have to put her in a nursing home. I wish I wasn't wearing black.
Mhm.
I wish I had recognized the signs from the beginning, because
Mhm.
probably then I would have asked for her to be treated or for an official diagnosis. I
Yeah.
wish I wasn't so fixated on her blood pressure and her diabetes. That's all I concentrated on. Make sure she has the medication. Make sure every day I wanted to know what her numbers were. But yeah.
Yeah. And whenever we speak about mom, I always say, Charmaine, you give yourself grace, because had you known, you wouldn't have intentionally done any of those things. But had you known, you would have acted differently. And everything that you did for your mom, I know that she appreciated it, and you did your best. You did your best. Before we end, is there anything you would like to say to our dementia caregivers and the aging tapestry people?
Um, Wherever you could find the support, get the support, get the help. If you have to journal, journal. If you have to step away, step away. If you need to cry, cry. But always be gentle with them. Always show them love. Even in the moment when I would go and hug her and she wouldn't recognize who I was, and therefore she doesn't really respond, do it nonetheless. Because an hour later, she would just come and just say something from years ago, and you'd be like, my mother is still in this person somewhere.
Yes.
Thing is that they start looking different as well. I guess aging, in aging, we look different. But I could always know when my mother her memory was there versus when it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Give yourself grace. Be gentle with them. You know, you hear of stories where caregivers are mean to the people they're taking care of.
Yeah.
But I guess it could get frustrating, but
Hmm.
it's okay to step away. If you
Yeah.
feel that you're overwhelmed, just step away. Make sure that they're safe. Step away, go to the bathroom, wash your face, cry,
Yeah.
call a friend. Always have your support system that you two can lean on.
Yeah.
Have questions to ask the questions.
Yeah, and don't be afraid, because even if you don't ask the questions, if you don't journal, if you don't ask for help, then indirectly you're contributing to the faster decline of your loved ones. Indirectly. You're not doing it directly, but indirectly you are.
And have fun.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, in these 6 years of the gradual decline of my mother,
Yeah.
we had the most fun than in all the years before, because we made it our duty to have
Mhm.
fun, to do fun things. Because earlier on, I mentioned whenever I went home, we would go to a hotel or an Airbnb just to experience something different. So
Yeah.
she could get drunk in a safe place. So she could sit down by the pool and do wonderful things. And because of where she lived in St. Lucia, we didn't have access to a nice beach. So we would go
Mhm.
up north where we could take her to the beach. She would make memories with my daughter, as well as memories. My sister and I made memories that things we never done as
Mhm.
siblings growing up. We were able to experience them because
Yeah.
of my mother's submission and us taking care of her.
Mhm.
Even if I used to, oh, and not well, I'm the one who used to fight with her. She just ignore me. And if she was there, she would tell you, Lord have mercy, I have prayed for that girl morning, noon, and night, because
Oh.
the temper, the anger, and it's a lot of fear as well.
Yeah.
I was also so fearful of my phone ringing at night,
Yeah.
because I always thought when my phone rang, let us say 9:10, I would be like, oh no, I'm getting the news. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
that something is wrong. Something happened.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shami. But before we end, and thanks for highlighting the importance of journaling, as you have a copy of the journal, The Unseen Harvest. I don't know if you're seeing it. And the motivation behind the journal. When I first experienced fall hair, I'm like, wait, the leaves are falling, but then I'm going down the road and harvest is happening there. They're like the crops are there. And I'm like, wait, this is the caregiving journey where you have loss happening, but at the same time, caregivers are growing and they're developing different things, the patience, the compassion, the courage. So I'm like, why not create a journal where caregivers can do the same? You know, express the grief, express the hurt, but at the same time, acknowledging how you've grown, acknowledging, like, expressing the gratitude and everything. So this journal is a holistic one, and it is free and you can download it, and I will attach the link to it. And if you're copying it, this is like a copied version of it, like a printed version. So you can print it at any printing shop and just have them bind it, and you can easily have it as your own, right? So get a free copy. It's important, as Charmaine said, to journal what you're feeling, express it. And there's also a section for unsent letters that you would want to send to yourself, to your loved ones. You could have written a letter to your sister if you had that journal at that time, the things that you wanted to express.
No, 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 no. They'll be forever.
I love it. Charmaine, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your mom's story and also your journey with us. And I know that what you've shared today will encourage and support past dementia caregivers who are probably still holding on to that guilt, and those persons who are seeing different changes in their loved ones but do not know what to, I guess, connect it to, on those who are current dementia caregivers and those who will be dementia caregivers in the future. I know that it will provide some support. So thank you so much, Charmaine. And Agent Tapestry, I hope you enjoy this video. If you know any caregivers or anyone who's seeing different signs or changes in their loved ones who will benefit from this video, please share it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because we will have other caregivers who will be sharing their journeys. So thank you very much.